And yes, that means we're here. That means we're here.
And we're counting down.
Here we go, Andrew Mason. Fans out at training camp tomorrow.
Yep. Back on the hillside. Last year on the hillside, though. This is it.
I know.
That hill is coming down to be replaced by a brand new, glorious building at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit, BPPCS.
Yes.
All the signs are up. I will say, like, it's cool to have the Broncos part of it emphasized. Like, you see the signs, powered by Common Spirit is like in small letters, and Broncos Park is in big letters. So it does. I don't know if Common Spirit's getting their money's worth out of it, but it does look better aesthetically.
Yeah, it looks good, feels good, sounds good. It's orange and blue today. OBT's the BFD, Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason, the quarterback thing. Only a couple of days in, May, so I'm not losing my mind. It's been bad for Zach Wilson. It's been okay for Bo Nix. We got plenty to talk about with Nix. And Jarrett Stidham looks like he's the week 1 starter if we just went after 2 days.
Yeah, especially Wednesday, I thought Stidham looked really good. Like today, a little bit more scattershot. I thought Bo Nix was better today than yesterday. Now, certainly moving up with the ones help, but there were a couple of makeable throws where he just didn't place it right. I think the thing with Bo Nix, part of the equation is precision and placement. And he's got some work to do there. Like when he's trying to hit Tim Patrick across the middle, it's a little bit behind and allows Chris Abrams drain to make a play on the ball. That's not what Bo Nix is going to want. But hey, he's a rookie. You've got to play the long game here. But if we were going by what we've seen to this point, OTAs, mini camp, 2 days training camp, you'd have to say it's a 2-horse race. But Stidham's definitely got a lead by a length or 2.
Yeah, Stidham's got the lead. And what's interesting to note, let's start with Bo Nix, and we'll get into Sean Payton comments on all this whole situation, including some interesting things that he didn't say about Zach Wilson. But anyway, with Bo Nix, you mentioned him being a little bit off. One, it's unusual for him because he seems to be, especially in the intermediate stuff, seems to be really on. There was a play today to Troy Franklin that he launched off his back foot. It went almost 60 yards in the air, but it was overthrown to Troy Franklin, and it was off his back foot. So
accuracy.
2 days in, Mace, but there's a little bit of sloppiness with Nix. And he's like trying to sling it in times where it's like, we just need you to be who you are. You know, just be who you are. You'll win the job.
Accuracy starts with the feet. And I mean, the throw to Troy Franklin, I'll admit I had a little bit of a Drew Lock flashback because it's not that Drew didn't have the arm strength. He did, but the accuracy wasn't all it could have been because he wasn't always getting set, wasn't always getting comfortable. He was winging it. On the one hand, you're kind of heartened to see Bo Nix have the driver in his bag without the feet being set.
Right.
It makes you think, okay, there's a little more arm strength than maybe we gave him credit for. But if you want it to actually result in a higher chance of completion down the field, you want him to get set and then throw and not be doing the back foot thing. On some level, yeah, it's impressive that you can make a 60-yard throw on your back foot. Sure. But this isn't QB challenge circa 1998, okay?
Those were fun to watch, though.
They were. Oh, staple of summertime, right? Yeah. They throw those on some random summer Saturday, and it was a trip.
Yeah, because you'd be like, there's nothing to watch. Oh, my God, there's something to watch. The chalk on the end of the football, remember?
Yes, uh-huh.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if it were QB challenge and he winged that thing, great. Hey, but, you want a completion there. And, yeah, it takes some effort to overthrow Troy Franklin because he was moving. He had some wheels today.
Yeah, he definitely had some wheels today and, had some good plays out there. Let's talk about the play Levi Wallace breaks up. because it's
Okay.
to Josh Reynolds from Bo Nix. You had your binoculars. There was actually a split, so I could actually see the play. But I said, there's a drop for Josh Reynolds. You said, no, Levi Wallace. But here's a play where, and again, we've seen Cody Barton with the clap plays.
Yes.
But like, here's a play where we usually see Nix sneak that in.
Yep.
And he wasn't able to sneak it in as Levi Wallace breaks up the play, knocks it away from Josh Reynolds. Not a drop, but a good play by a Broncos defender, but not one that we've normally seen because Nix has been really good at sneaking those passes in.
He has. And yep. I have PD got his hand in. I'm looking at my notes right here.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of, it was ragged today for Bo Nix. And the thing is, his success equation involves being metronomic in terms of how he has those throws, right? So if it's and I think part of it is you're learning that you don't have the gaps that you had in college, right? And I think the thing we'll find out now, we know that Bo Nix has the accuracy numbers in college, but we're about to find out if those take a hit because the windows are smaller here that he's dealing with. Look, I'm not sitting here panicking. I don't think anybody should be like, oh my God, it's not going to work. No. Okay. This is part of the learning process. This is what happens when you're adjusting to a new level. You're finding out which things don't work and you're adapting. I think Bo Nix is capable of adapting. And I believe we'll look at these days and see them as a foundation for him doing better things in the weeks to come. Now, if we're seeing the same mistakes in 3 to 4 weeks on a consistent basis, then yes, it's fair to be concerned. Not today.
Yes, not
it's
today.
Funny, right there. Is Bo Nix not doing well for 2 days concerning to you? No.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Whatsoever.
Big picture. I think even Sean Payton said, if not, was it yesterday or today, talked about kind of not getting too caught up in the day-to-day, right? Now, we're going to break things down to day-to-day, but I think we need to offer the context of saying, okay, let's see what it looks like down the line. We can't ignore what's happening, but at the same time, the proper context is say it's a day. What does he learn from? It's 2 days. What does he learn from those 2 days? And again,
we go back to what Sean Payton has said. He said Nix is a quick study. So if he's learning, Mace, these are the type of struggles in a way we want to see. We don't want Case Keenum with no interceptions in training camp.
Yeah.
We want to see him learn.
Yeah. I mean, talk about a false positive right there. The Case Keenum training camp. Whew. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll say that there were some moments, and we're talking about all these things going wrong, and these are team period, okay? But as far as laying the groundwork, you and I have talked about the importance of 7-on-7, right? Nathaniel Hackett doesn't think it's important. I say that we get our reminders every now and again, including back at Senior Bowl practice in January, that is important in terms of developing timing and rhythm, right? 7-on-7 period. You know what happened? The ball did not touch the ground. For any quarterback, 12 reps, 4 for each quarterback, 12 completions, and quick decisions as well. Now, I'll say, like, for Zach Wilson, even though it's not great, I thought Zach Wilson was a little crisper in his decision-making today than he was yesterday. So if you're looking for a positive, there's a positive.
You got to look. You got to look, though.
But you had to squint. Yeah, you had to squint.
Shall we release the pause? Shall we tell people and set up the pause? You brought up ZW, Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Let's set this one up, brother.
So looking ahead to tomorrow, presumably if you have the rotation, Zach Wilson is your number 1 quarterback tomorrow. And
don't think that's going to happen.
You don't think it's going to happen?
Nope.
Okay. Why not?
Well, sarcastically, first day of training camp, you want your fans to get fired up. Like, and Jarrett Stidham could easily be the first team quarterback, but you come out and sit in 97-degree weather to watch Zach Wilson run on 7-on-7s and throw the ball in the dirt. Nah, man. No, I don't forget I want to say a different F word, but forget the rotation.
Here's the thing. Sean Payton understands like there's energy that comes from having fans there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you think he's structuring his quarterback rotation around the fact that there are going to be 3,000 people on the hill?
No, probably not.
So I think it'll be Zach Wilson. I don't think he's at the point where he surrenders the rotation yet.
Especially because with Rachel on that.
Especially because Zach Wilson did go from 3 to 2 today. Mm-hmm. See, the rotation went Bo Nix, Zach Wilson, Jarrett Stidham. So it was like a snake draft. So Stidham went from 1 to 3. Nix moved up from 2 to 1, and Wilson from 3 to 2, which would mean tomorrow it would be Wilson from 2 to 1, Stidham from 3 to 2, and Bo Nix going from 1 down to 3.
Did Bo Nix move up then? Because in the offseason, Bo Nix was third. Remember, we'd always see the third day. And Bo Nix was the third quarterback, and now he's the second quarterback.
Maybe that was the alteration, and we saw it manifest in – I've used that word a lot today for some reason. We saw it manifest in minicamp. Mm-hmm. Cancel the third day, maybe you cancel the Zach Wilson day. Or the other possibility is, and this could lend credence to your thought, is if you just hit the reset button after every kind of gap. Like you don't treat these 2 days as training camp. You just say they're acclimation, kind of like mini camp was its own monster, acclimation was its own monster. And in that case, we wouldn't see Zach Wilson get a first team day until Monday.
First day of pads.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want Zach Wilson getting.
So you're ruling out that as well, right? Like, then I think it has to be tomorrow. I think it's got to be Friday.
Let's set up the pause for him, though, brother, or else you're going to be talking about manifesting and how better choices equal better results. Let's make the better choice of the better quarterback here.
Manifest destiny. What is the destiny of the Broncos quarterbacks? Well, I asked Sean Payton about how Zach Wilson's starting experience kind of manifests itself out there in his work. Because, look, he started 33 games. Jarrett Stidham started 4, Bo Nix, none as a pro. So I thought, okay, there's got to be some way it reveals itself. Even though he's learning a new scheme, there's got to be a way in which his experience actually kind of gives him at least something on Jarrett Stidham and Bo Nix, right? Well, let's just play what he had to say.
I think we'll be able to see that a little bit clearer in the games. But look, he's learning a new offense just like Bo is. But there's a calming presence to seeing him. You know, in other words, I think, that experience, I think you begin to appreciate what's most important maybe sometimes and not worry about some of the things that aren't as important. That takes place. And so less wasted energy, maybe. Those would be a few things.
Okay.
What a pause.
There's a quote from Lisa Simpson on The Simpsons. And it's when Homer asks his family if he's a little bit overweight. I believe it's after he gets stuck in a water slide. The H2O. And there's a pause. And Lisa says, "Sorry, Dad, it takes time to properly sugarcoat a response." And that's what it felt like he was doing. Like he wanted to say something positive about Zach Wilson, but he had to think about it. And that isn't necessarily the best sign when it's kind of not on the tip of your tongue.
He had to think of the way to say it.
Yes, to say it without, like, to tell the truth, I mean, he didn't want to make something up that you and I would sit here and all of us in the media would sit there and fans would sit there and it's like, whoa, what? You know, we may drop dead tomorrow, but we weren't born yesterday.
Can't gaslight us, Sean.
Yes.
It's true from a certain point of view.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you said that and not something politically tinged. Like there was a politically tinged phrase that went through my mind and I didn't want to say it. Like,
yeah, we'll save that for a different show. And bringing people together talking about the Broncos. But I think the pause says everything.
Yeah.
The pause said more than the pause does.
The pause said more than the words.
Sure.
I think.
Well, and don't you agree with what he said? Honestly, like it's going to come through in the games.
Yeah.
Right now, the game experience, that's game experience. You know, Stidham's been in the league a long time. He's got a ton of practice experience. He doesn't have a ton of game experience.
The wild card for Zach Wilson is the fact that he's actually had to go out there and start and, be in the huddle and do all those things. Now, by and large, he didn't do them very well in most games, although the Zach Wilson believers will point you rightfully to the Chiefs game last year on Sunday night and to the game against Houston. But those are outliers, right? I mean, you could be hitting 140 and every so often you're just going to run into one and send it over the fence, right? Doesn't mean that you're a great hitter. Just means that, at some point, fortune was going to favor you. That's, you go out there enough, at some point there's going to be a good thing that happens if you are at least a replacement level player. So, but yeah, I heard that. I mean, I thought it was interesting that everyone kind of caught on to it, right? That it wasn't just like a couple of us that were sitting there, reflecting on the pause. Everyone kind of was like, whoa, that was there.
Yeah, we know what it meant. And we've seen Zach, it's, I guess it was better today. You'll be more positive on that than I, Mace, but he's almost to the Sam Hartman point of practice where I'm just going to stop taking notes. Cause it's just, I don't want to crush a kid, but it's,
you don't want to, but you're about to.
It depends. It depends.
You don't want to, then don't do it. You just did it.
I mean, we have to tell you what's going on, right? And we have to go with the new information. And that's why when something new comes up, like if Wilson has a good day, you bet your ass we're going to be talking about it.
Sure.
But he has to have that first, and it hasn't happened.
I wish he would. I'd like to say some good things about Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Well, the message certainly got out there to the national media of like, it's a 3 race. It's a 3 race. Okay, it's a 3 race, but how long? How long do we have to do this? It shouldn't be a 3-headed race.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a time to kind of cut it off.
When is that?
I think it's probably the end of next week. So you have 2 more practices and then you're off on Sunday. Pads go on Monday. And I think those 6 practices in succession before you have that Sunday off day, that would get you to 10 practice days overall. And if you've stuck with the rotation, that would mean Zach Wilson got 3 days with the ones, 2 in pads.
That's plenty.
Presumably.
That's plenty. And part of this, Mace, the way they're handling Zach Wilson, and I applaud this if this is the actual reason. But part of this is the mental rehab that he needs to go through and just say, hey, Zach, do your thing. We want to see what you have, and then we're going to fix you during the season. Like, if they tell him it's the long view, this is football rehab, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Maybe that explains, some of the approaches that Wilson is taking to these plays.
I've said it. I think you should put him on a parallel track for the year. Like
Yeah.
you've got Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham. One of those two is starting. Zach Wilson only goes in if there's an emergency. And even then I may want to have somebody else in there and not have it work out like David Carr with the Panthers back in 2007, where they got forced put him in. Now, that was their screw up. They should have had somebody else. At the time, they only had Matt Moore, undrafted rookie, on the practice squad, and then you had Jake Delhomme get hurt.
They were going to fix Carr too.
Yeah, I think with time they could have done it. But the key was Carr can't go back out there before you've worked on his clock.
Nope.
His malfunctioning clock in the pocket, which happened because he was running for his life in Houston, and he was seeing ghosts. It takes a lot to get a quarterback out of the realm of seeing ghosts. And I think there's some of that with Zach Wilson too.
Yep.
He spins into sacks. He does see ghosts at times. You're not going to fix that in a year. And you're not going to fix that by putting him on the field when it counts. So, I'd be fine if Zach Wilson's on the 53-player roster doing this. I don't mind using a spot potentially. But say, okay, we're playing the long game here. And even tell him, hey, if you want to come back, we'd like to have you back in 2025. Perhaps as the backup to Bo Nix, but here's the thing. If you play the long game with Zach Wilson and you rebuild him from the ground up, what that does is if you can successfully rebuild him, get the things in him fixed, and then get to a point where the glimpses we saw in 2020 actually manifest, that word again, in what he can do on the field, then you have a reclamation project, and we know Sean Payton has succeeded with reclamation projects.
Very much so.
You have maybe a Kerry Collins type here
Mm-hmm.
in terms of that arc. Kerry Collins with Sean Payton started in the Super Bowl, and he was left for dead, cut by the Panthers.
Yep.
Not brought back by the Saints. Total scrap heap quarterback in 1999. By January of 2001, he was a starter in the Super Bowl. And he was a reason why the Giants got to a Super Bowl. He was
different.
He wasn't a passenger on that train. He was guiding it. I mean, look at that NFC Championship game against the Vikings where the Giants had as dominant a playoff performance as you'll ever see. And Kerry Collins was a huge reason why. So that's what I want to see. And it's part of why maybe I'm a little more optimistic than you, because I think there's a path here if you play the long game with Zach Wilson.
I was
saying let's revisit this in a year and see what the work has done. I'd like it if Zach Wilson's back on this team in a year. I'd love it, actually.
Well, I was telling John Davis, I could make the argument that Zach Wilson was the most naturally talented passer on this team. It's just not where it needs to be. I'll give you a more recent example that Broncos fans will appreciate, and we got to kind of wrap it up, but I hate to do this late in the show, but remember how they handled Chad Kelly?
Yeah.
For different reasons. And Chad would go out there after practice with nobody else, and he would run through the script of the day. And I remember asking Vance Joseph the Monday before the Tuesday Halloween party.
Oh, God.
And we're lucky that wasn't more severe. You walk into somebody's house unannounced. There's dangerous things that can happen. That day I asked Vance Joseph, do you trust Chad Kelly? Because we were this flipping close from seeing Chad Kelly as the starter for the Denver Broncos. But you handle it in that where like Chad Kelly, it was like he was just doing his own thing, kind of. And if that Halloween thing hadn't happened, and of course he did some stuff allegedly or whatever in Canada, we won't talk about, but like, had that not happened, the Halloween thing, you might have seen the Broncos go with Chad Kelly, who was on a kind of a parallel from his teammates. He was kind of separate. Yeah,
I'm not sure it would have happened quickly, but I think he might have been the starter by the last 2 weeks of that season. When they went out to Oakland on Christmas Eve, I think he might have been in there.
Yep.
To start taking a look at him. And then he had a spark. Like, he had some natural ability. Like, but all the other stuff, man.
It can't be a knucklehead. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's on him.
Yep.
It's sad. You
well,
hate
to have that natural talent and to piss it away because you're a knucklehead, like that is very sad. Because all of us, like for me, myself as a former high school quarterback, Mace, there I go with my high school stories. Like I would kill to be in the NFL. I would have loved to have had that opportunity. I was nowhere nearly physically gifted enough nor mentally gifted enough. I would forget plays like pop pass out and I just go run my own play. But like,
I'm sure the coaches love that.
Oh, my coach did not like that. He did not like that at all. We went to the state championship. We got waxed, but we went there because of some scrappy. He did compare me to John Elway, which I liked.
Oh man, talk about buttering you up.
Little 5'10" Chicano John Elway, but like still, like to have that natural talent and to piss it away it is sad.
Yeah, it is. And the glimpses were there, man. I remember watching him. I think it was in the preseason game in Washington in 2018. I mean, you could see like when he went out there, he had some juice to him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Maybe we'll see the juice with Wilson in the preseason because of your question. When's it show up? It shows up in games. Yeah. Could Zach Wilson be the third guy in practice and I'm killing him every day? And then in the preseason, against third string guys, whatever, you got to look good when you're playing. Maybe in the preseason, Zach Wilson looks good and they go, the rehab's working.
I hope so. Right. Because, right now you're not seeing it. You
don't need to see it right now, though.
Yeah. I mean,
you don't need to see it right now.
Yeah. Like, look here, he's looking for David Sills too far,
He got Sutton waxed on one play, that play that was near the sideline. And Sutton got hit and got knocked down. I don't think I'm telling something I shouldn't say. But I was like, in a practice where you don't have pads, you don't want your receiver taking a hit and getting knocked down. Because Sutton went to the ground, and I was like, oh, God, get up.
Yeah.
He wasn't down for very long. I don't want to scare anybody. But it was just like unnecessary contact.
Yep. Of
a game of collisions. Anyway, we got to run, buddy.
Yeah, but I want to say this. Okay.
I saw you look at your watch.
Well, no, it was I gotta. Yeah.
Oh, a text message. Message. I'll play that for the fans out there. And by the way, if you see us out at training camp, come say hi to us.
Well, it's gonna be kind of hard. We're across the way.
I'm gonna be with the fans.
You're sneaking up there.
Practice. Yeah, I'm sneaking up there. I always do every year. It's a better view. So say hi. I went to buy comic books this couple weekends ago and ran into Robert, who's like, I love orange and blue today. I was like, thank you. Now give me some deals on your comic books.
Yeah.
But we love talking to you guys. We love this show. We love the reaction to the show. Say hi to us.
Yes, please do. But what I wanted to say, actually, I mean, I was in Costco last night. People were coming up to me.
You're in Costco pushing the cart?
Yeah, just pushing, getting my bananas and my detergents and my breakfast burritos. The stuff I need.
5 gallons of mayonnaise. Well, that's cool, man. Wherever we go.
The protein bars,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are good ones. Good ones.
So what I wanted to say before we sign off is, who had a second straight good day? Because you always want to see guys stacking days. Thomas Incoom.
He did.
Yes.
Yep.
Thomas Incoom got Jarrett Stidham flushed out late in the practice.
He's a player.
So he's showing it so far. Good sign. The roster calculus may be working against him, but so far so good. He's off to a nice start. Part of those second year guys you got to keep your eye on because they know the system, they know what they're doing, and their eyes aren't wide. I think Incoom's
JL Skinner with the PBU.
Yes, big day for JL Skinner as well. Glad he caught some eyes today too.
Yep. And we'll have to do that on our Saturday brain dump.
Yeah, I think he caught Sean Payton's eye as well.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. So we'll do a Saturday brain dump. We're going to do one OBT tomorrow. We have OBT 2 tonight. We're going to talk Courtland Sutton, those wide receivers, Marvin Mims, everybody. Like Saturday, we'll have our Friday report. Friday, just one show. Saturday, we'll do 2 shows. We'll do like a regular show, and then we'll do a Saturday brain dump. so we'll just let him have it, L,
Mhm.
is what Big L used to say. So we'll do it just like that. But to help us out on YouTube, how can folks do that, Mace?
Like,
Comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell.
so that you
Never
never miss a vid. That's right. He's Andrew Mason. You follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying OBT's a BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned and stay frosty.